Today we will be ranking the top 10 point guards heading into the 2019-2020 NBA season. As we make this video, keep in mind that we will not be considering LeBron James as a point guard. He will be in our small forward video, and that this list is consuming everyone is healthy. So let's get started with the honorable mentions. De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is a good young point guard that has been steadily improving in each of his first years in the league. I have no doubt that he will one day be on this list. D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell was an all-star point guard last year, making the all-star game and leading his team to the playoffs, which is something I don't think very many of us saw coming. However, he was on the Nets last season, which meant that he was the number one option. He took most of the shots, he dished out most of the assists, therefore his production was way up. This next season he will be playing on the Golden State Warriors, and playing with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, most likely his production will drop, and that is why he just missed the cut. So let's get started with number 10, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons just had a great year. It's only his second year in the league, and he made the All-Star team. He averaged 17 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists. He has so much potential. He's a great floor general. But the reason I marked him so low is because he cannot shoot. His jump shot, in my opinion, hurts the team. I can't see a team going far in the playoffs with a point guard that can't shoot the three. Teams are taunting him. They're leaving him wide open from three, and that's not spreading out the floor, which in the long run I feel like hurts his team. Therefore, he only ranks in here at number 10. Number 9, Mike Conley. Now, a lot of people might not think that, or might not be happy about me putting someone who's never made an All-Star game above 2 players that have made All-Star games. And while D'Angelo Russell and Ben Simmons might show more potential, as of right now, Mike Conley's the better player. Mike Conley just had a stellar season, averaging 21 points per game, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. I don't care if he officially didn't make the All-Star team, he's an All-Star. He plays like one. He was a great playmaker on a bad team for the last few years, but now he's on the Utah Jazz. I feel like Mike Conley, being on a contending team with his leadership, his playmaking ability, his shooting, will be a huge help to a contending team, one that's even pushing for a title. And I can't wait to see what kind of noise Mike Conley and the Utah Jazz make in the finals next year. Number 8, Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry, he plays a lot deeper than just statistics. He's a 5-time All-Star that averaged 14 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists. He was only behind Russell Westbrook in assists per game last year, and he brought Toronto a championship. Mike Conley, 14 points per game and 9 assists. Those are good numbers, but those aren't superstar levels or statistics. So why is he considered a superstar player? Why does he rank in so high at number 8? Well, he plays a lot bigger than his statistics. The things that he does for the team, the leadership he brings, the decisions, the setting up his teammates, all of that goes a lot deeper than statistics. Not to mention, not only is he great at passing and setting up his teammates, but he's a great shooter. Over the last 3 seasons, he shot 38.6% from 3. He's not just a passer, he can score at will when he needs to. He definitely deserves this spot. Also, he's all alone next year with Kawhi Leonard leaving, which means that he will be the number one option on that Toronto team. We could start to see what Kyle Lowry's really made of. Number 7, Chris Paul. Chris Paul just had the worst season of his career. He put up 15 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists. He shot the worst percentage from the field of his career. And yet, the fact that that's his worst season makes him amazing. You know he's an all-time great when averaging 15 points per game and 8 assists while shooting 41% from the field is your worst season. You know you're up there with the legends. However, Chris Paul has had a lack of playoff success on contending teams. That seems to drop him a bit. And his play over the last few years has been declining. And as his play has been declining, he's been put on more of a contending team with a contending role. Teams that are trying to win now, and I just don't feel like that's Chris Paul's place anymore. This next season, he's going on to the Thunder, which I feel like is good for him. This is a younger team, a team that's trying to rebuild, a team where he can show his leadership, give his locker room experience, and eventually teach all of these young guys how to be successful. Number 6, Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker just had a stellar season, averaging 25 points per game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. He started in the All-Star game. He had a breakout season. However, he still can't lead his team to wins. They still missed the playoffs. He's only made 1 playoffs in his entire career. It doesn't matter how good your stats are, if you can't lead a team to wins, you'll never be as great, in my opinion. Because at the end of the day, the game of basketball is about winning. However, it's not all his fault. If you look at the Hornets roster since he's been there, the Hornets roster just haven't been good. I mean, they have players like Nicholas Batum, who's way overpaid. They have Jeremy Lamb, he's their next best player in my opinion, which is sad. That just shows you how bad the management is in Charlotte. But this next year, he's joining up with the Celtics. He's going to join with a young team that's full of potential. We've seen them play. We know they can play. Talking about Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker. They're all going to mesh together. And I think they can surprise a lot of people in the playoffs if they make it. Number 5, John Wall. Okay, at the beginning of the video I said, this is assuming everyone is healthy. And if you're assuming he's healthy, you can't argue with putting John Wall this high. Because over the past 3 years, he has averaged 21 points per game, 4 rebounds, and 9 assists per game. Those are crazy numbers. That's nearly a double-double. And if he and Bradley Beal can stay healthy, that's going to be one of the most feared backcourts in the NBA. I mean, he's fast. He's a great floor general, great leader. He could work on his shot a bit, but that's okay. It's worked so far in his career. However, staying healthy is going to be the biggest challenge, and I think it has been the biggest challenge over his first few years in the league. But if he can stay healthy, him and Bradley Beal, they can lead that Wizards team. I don't think they're necessarily a contending team, but they're a playoff team. Okay, number 4, Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double for his 3rd straight season, averaging 23 points per game, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists. Now, Russell Westbrook has been accused of padding his stats, and I believe he pads his stats. But there's really 2 ways to look at it, because his teams have never had the best supporting cast. I mean, when he was young, they had a young James Harden, young Kevin Durant, right? And then those guys left. They had Victor Oladipo before Victor Oladipo blossomed. right? But now they have Paul George and Steven Adams. But other than them, their supporting cast isn't all that great. I mean, they have players like Jeremy Grant, Dennis Schroeder, Nerlens Noel. But those guys aren't being as effective as they could be. Nerlens Noel, for example, he's not putting up half the numbers that he used to when he was on the Mavericks and the Sixers. And really, there's two ways to look at it. One is Russell Westbrook getting those high stat numbers to carry the team, right? Because if they're not scoring, rebounding, or assisting, he has to. Someone has to pass out the assists. Someone has to grab those rebounds. Someone has to score those points if your team wants to win. If no one does those things, it's simply impossible for your team to win. And you did see this year that Russell Westbrook did step aside for Paul George. So it begs the question, is Russell Westbrook just trying to help the team win, or is he the reason the team is being inefficient? Victor Oladipo, for example. Victor Oladipo went to the Thunder, only averaged 15 points per game. He was a decent starting shooting guard in the league. He leaves playing with Russell Westbrook and turns into a NBA star for the Indiana Pacers. Same thing with what I was saying earlier about Nerlens Noel. On the Sixers, he wasn't a star, he wasn't anything great, but he was putting up good numbers, good decent numbers. And then for the Mavericks, same thing. He goes to the Thunder, almost nothing. Is Russell Westbrook the reason why those players and his team is inefficient? Because he does not give them the opportunity to be so. You choose. You pick which way you want to look at it. I won't judge. I don't know which way I want to look at it. Number 3, Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving just put up 24 points per game, 5 rebounds, 7 assists this season. Those are great numbers. He's been considered to be the second best point guard in the league for a couple years now. However, I believe that being on the Celtics has dropped his value. I mean, he has the stats and the playability to be a top 2 point guard in the league, but the leadership just isn't there. In my opinion, the Celtics were the most talented roster in the NBA last year. I mean, you gotta think. They had Al Horford, post-injury Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, Marcus Smart, Marcus Morris, Aaron Baines. The list just goes on of talented, great players. And they still got eliminated in the second round of the playoffs. Now that's just disappointing. And I think a lot of people are pointing fingers at Kyrie Irving, which, let's be honest, they should be. It's his lack of leadership and their chemistry problems that allowed them to get eliminated so early. But this year he's going to the Nets, which I feel like is just hopping from one young team to another. I feel like the situation will be exactly the same of his bad leadership and bad chemistry until Kevin Durant returns. So I think you could count the Nets out as a contending team until the 2021 season. Number 2, Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard just scored 26 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists this season. Unlike Kyrie, he has shown his leadership on and off the court. He led the Trailblazers to a 53-win season, claiming the 3rd seed in a stacked Western Conference, and then led the team to the conference finals. Dame is just a clutch player in my mind. Think of the shot on the Rockets a few years ago, and then his shot this season on the Thunder to eliminate them. When I think of the Trailblazers, I don't think of a team, I think of a brotherhood. And that, in my opinion, is because of Damian Lillard. I feel like he leads the brotherhood. I feel like he's a good teammate. I feel like he has the leadership, the playability, the stats, the willingness and ability to take over games to deserve this spot. He definitely earns it. Number 1, Steph Curry. Did you guys really think it was going to be anyone else? I mean, the guy just put up 27 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. And the fact that he just put up those numbers while being on a roster with Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, and Draymond Green, and DeMarcus Cousins should say enough. I mean, he's a 2-time MVP, won the NBA Finals 3 of the past 5 years. He's the greatest shooter of all time. He's a great ball handler, puts up great numbers, and with Klay Thompson injured for at least half the season, Kevin Durant and DeMarcus Cousins are gone. I can't wait to see how well Curry will do this year, leading a lesser Warriors team, not a bad Warriors team, but a lesser Warriors team, and see what kind of numbers he puts up. Thanks for watching. What did you guys think of our video? Don't forget to leave your comments about things that you would have, who we left out, things that you would change, and don't forget to like and subscribe.